Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Welcome, new and returning listeners. I'm your host, Faith Ann, the Networker's Tour Guide. You've found the place to get your networking questions answered one episode at a time. Let's dive into episode 59. This episode is a solo episode, and we are going to talk about how you can nurture the business relationships that you already have. I want to qualify the kind of relationships I'm talking about. I'm talking about those really close business professionals that you have built a great relationship with already. Now, some of these tips are going to be for anyone that you're trying to build a relationship with, no matter what stage you're in. But then some of them are really going to be specifically for those people that you already know pretty well. There are 6 tips and a bonus at the end. Now, before I get into these 6 tips, the reason why we want to nurture the relationships that we already have is because we don't want to take people for granted. And when we are networking, we're adding new relationships to our existing ones frequently. We're adding more people. People are coming into our ecosystem. While some may be leaving our ecosystem, we've got people coming in, and it's been my experience that I have more people coming in than are leaving. And we want to make sure that those people that we have the good relationships with, that are good for our business, that are good for our soul, get attention on a regular basis. And I'm going to give you some easy ways to nurture and give those relationships some attention that you might not have thought about. So, these first couple are for those people that you're wanting in your ecosystem, also for your business besties, the ones that are supporting you, the ones that feed your soul, the ones that help you grow your business, the ones that you are their cheerleaders and their fans. It's for those people and maybe the new person you met last week at the chamber mixer. So this is in general for people in general that you're meeting. This is a good best practice. Follow up on referrals you receive. Follow up on referrals you receive. Friends, follow up on referrals you receive. Please, please follow up on referrals that you receive. It is so rewarding to send someone a referral, to send that business person, even if you don't know them very well or if you know them quite well, and you have found an opportunity for them that they didn't have except for you. And you have put the effort to make that connection and to increase another business owner's revenue potentially. When someone has done that for you, follow up on that referral. It can be very disheartening when someone has gone through the effort to open up a door for you and then they come and they say, "Hey, did you get that referral?" Yeah, I got it. Okay, great. I'm excited for you. I'm happy for you. And then you let it die and you do nothing. It can be disheartening. So, any relationship that you either want to deepen or you want to begin, follow up on referrals. We become very busy, very focused on growing, and very focused sometimes on our advertising efforts and focused on that new business. And when we receive a referral, that should be number one, should be top priority. Thanking the person who sent you the referral, and I mean really thanking them, and following up. When you follow up with that referral, this should be from you, from you. It should not come from your automated system. It should come from you. Either from an email that's your email, not your HubSpot or your automated CRM, but your real email, or a phone call from you, not from your assistant, from you. That may not be a very popular view. This method, though, is what I've used to grow both Window Cleaning Plus and the Networker's Tour Guide. When I receive referrals, I do not hand them off to anyone to follow up on. I reach out, and I don't use my CRM. I use me through Messenger, through text, through a phone call. And I will say, I have dropped the ball. So I'm not perfect. I have dropped the ball. And when I find out that I have, I feel absolutely horrible. And then I reach out. It doesn't matter if it's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks. I still reach out to the referral, and I reach out to the person who sent me the referral. I apologize, and I try to make it right, even though sometimes I can't. It's been too long. Now, it doesn't happen often, but I'm not saying it's never happened. You should be avoiding this at all costs. Avoid letting your referrals slip through the cracks, and reach out personally and treat it like the treasure, the gift that it is. So follow up on referrals you receive. This is a great way to nurture the relationships that you already have, to just press into the people that are around you, that you are trustworthy, that when they send you a referral, they don't have to worry if you're going to follow up with that referral that they've sent. Number two, if you can't make an event, ask how it went. The more that you are bringing people into your ecosystem, the more you're connecting, the more connections you're making with people in your community, the more likely it is you're going to be invited to things. And when you can't make it to something that somebody has invited you to, ask how it went. So put some reminder either in your phone or some way that you can remember this event that's happening in 10 days. I've declined it. I'm going to ask how it went. I'm going to ask the person who invited me, how did your lunch and learn go? How did your event go? How was it? What was it, everything you'd hoped it was going to be? And if this is somebody who's organized the event, ask about how did it go? Did it go like you wanted? It's a great way to not have to attend every single thing that you're invited to because you want to protect your time. It's a way to prioritize those things that matter to you, but still nurture a relationship by asking, how did the event go? Man, I would love it if the things that I'm asking people to attend, if they say, I can't, I'm sorry, have fun, or however they say yes or no, and then I get a text or a message after the event. How did your thing go? How did your training go? I would love that. And it's so simple. Put something in your calendar that lets you know when the event happened. Send a message to the host or someone who invited you. Now, here's something that I've learned, and I can't remember where, probably on Instagram. It was an account, and someone said, when you have to decline first and then say something positive. Most people, we want to say the positive thing, and then we say, but I'm sorry, I can't. Just come out and say, I'm not going to be able to make it, and then say something positive. How kind of you to invite me, so that the last thing the person hears or reads is the positive, not the negative. Number three, schedule a time to send messages that say, I was just thinking of you. And this can also just be throughout the day when you think of it. This is from Vanessa Van Edwards, and she has a great Instagram account, and I'll link that. She has some terrific things to say about relationships in general. So when the person comes into your mind, a person that you know really well, but maybe you haven't talked to them in a few weeks or a few months, send them a text. I was just thinking of you. How are you doing? Easy way to nurture the relationships that you have worked so hard to build. That was number 3. Here is number 4. Ask, how can I support you in your business right now? And this can be a text, this can be a message, this can be over lunch or coffee. In episode 41, I do a whole episode about having answers to these questions when someone asks you, how can I support you right now? And how can I bring you up to others? So go back and listen to episode 41 if you haven't yet. In this episode, I want to focus on you are the one who asks, how can I support you in your business right now? Get into a habit of asking. And we want to be aware of the relationships that we already have. We may think that they are doing fine because they're not new. So when we're having our one-to-ones with new people, it's a great question to ask those new people that we're just building a relationship with at a one-to-one, how can I support you in your business right now? And those people that you know well, you may not have asked them this question in a while. So it's a good idea to think, who are the people, the top 10 people who have supported me in my business this year? Have I asked them this question recently? If not, send them an email. I was thinking of you. I want to know, how can I support you in your business right now? And you'll just warm their heart. The person who reads that is just going to get a hug. It's like a hug, only not in person. Okay? Ask those people that you're close to, how can I support you in your business right now?
Hey, networkers! If you want your next one-to-one to go beyond swapping business cards, Faithann's got something for you. She created a free resource called 10 Questions to Ask in a One-to-One. It's packed with thoughtful questions that help you get to know someone and leave a lasting impression. Click on the 10 Questions link in the show notes and download this resource today.
Now, these next 2 are going to be a little bit longer. My sister and I have this phrase, we call it a roundy round. So, a roundy round is when you have something to say to somebody, but it's going to take you a while to get there. You think about a spiral, and you start at the outside of the spiral, and you spiral inward and inward and inward until you get to the middle. Here is what I think you should do to nurture the relationships you already have. And it has to do with another question to ask. I'm going to tell a little story first. A few months ago, my daughter wanted to go to a concert in a different city, and she was going to go with some family members. And there were some factors involved that my husband and I had to think about. What were we going to let her go? And so there was about 4 or 5 days where she was waiting on our decision, and we were talking about it among ourselves and trying to find out more information about it. And it was to go see 21 Pilots. So we gave her our blessing, and she got to stay overnight in the city that it was in, the concert, come back the next day. Then, more recently, a few days ago, I was in the car with her, and we were listening to some 21 Pilots. And there was a song that came on, I think it's called Trees. And at the end, there just comes in the song this beat and this fast. You just can't not do anything. And we're both sitting in my car, and we're just rocking out to this 21 Pilots song. On the way home, she says, as we're listening to more 21 Pilots, she said, that day that I went and saw them was the best day of my life. She said, I'm really glad you guys let me go because it was the best day of my life. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. And I said, wow, I'm so glad we let you go too. Now I have some really good information about my daughter that I didn't have before. So now I can, as her mom, I can think back, okay, what happened on that day? This tells me the things that I can do to make her happy. because I can use that day as the blueprint for future moments in our relationship to deepen them. So I don't need to take her out to another city in a hotel room. Obviously, I can't do that every time I want to have a good moment with my daughter. But here's what I can do: I can ask her more questions about that experience. And then I can extrapolate from what she's telling me, the best parts of that experience. And I can say, as her mom, well, what could I do to duplicate that? Because I know if I duplicate those moments in some way, I'm going to make her happy. I am going to deepen our relationship. So now, 21 Pilots, that's on my radar. Maybe I might see a 21 Pilots shirt, or I might see some merchandise somewhere. And I know something now. She'd probably like that. Maybe if they come into town again, now maybe I make an effort to go. I don't know. I mean, there's things that we can figure out, but and when I ask her more questions about that experience, she's going to tell me what mattered to her, and I'm going to use that to make our relationship better. Well, what about doing that with those people that you're close to in business? What about asking them? Either ask, what was the best day of your life? And they tell you. And you say, tell me more about that. And you just keep asking, and you get you just get some information. You're interested. This person's the best day of their life means this happens and this happens and this happens. Now I can use that, and I can make an effort to pull the essence out of that day. I don't have to duplicate the experience, but I can pull the essence of it and duplicate that in the ways that I can serve that person in our relationship, our business relationship. Or you could say, you could ask, what does the very best day look like for you? Ask them. It's such an interesting question because you really have no idea. One person's best day of their life could be completely different from another person's best day of their life. But we can always learn and then say, how can I create that in our relationship in a small way? You'll find out what matters to people. A trip to Tahiti, you obviously can't duplicate that with your business bestie, but there's something about that trip to Tahiti that your bestie is talking about. There's something in there that you probably could duplicate. What was the reason why that was so special? You could probably duplicate some aspect of that, and that will deepen your relationship. It's going to make those people think of you more, and it's just all around good. It's soul feeding to nurture relationships that you already have. One more, and then we'll do our bonus at the end. This one is another roundy round. We'll start at the outside of the spiral and spiral in. It has to do with another experience. I was at a leadership networking event put on by Kristen Partridge, and she was a guest on episode 54 of the podcast. Her event is called Thrive, and I was sitting next to a good friend of mine who's in my BNI chapter, which BNI stands for Business Network International. It's my weekly networking group that I'm a member of. And the speaker there at this Thrive event, I already knew. My friend had expressed a desire to meet the speaker. And I said, oh, I could probably make that happen. And then Kristen came by and said hello to us because she's such a perfect host. And she asked my friend, do you know the speaker? And my friend said, no, but I want to get in front of her. And then I said, I know the speaker. And I said to Kristen, Kristen, if you or me can't make this introduction happen by the time my friend leaves, we're doing something wrong. And Kristen, of course, yeah. So after the event, we saw the speaker and she was gathering her things. Looked like she was going to leave. So I told my friend, like, come on, let's go. We got to go. Let's go make this introduction happen. And it just, there were people in the way, and she just kept getting farther and farther away from us. And so I told my friend, I'm sorry. I don't know if we're going to be able to talk to her, but I'll do an email introduction. And she's like, oh, that's fine. That's fine. And then Kristen comes back up to us and she said, did you get to meet her? And I said, I think she's out the door. And Kristen said, no, 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 no. She's still here. She's still here. So I looked at my friend who was at that time like 3 or 4 feet away. I looked at her. I said, let's go. We got to go. We got to make this happen. So we made it happen. We made the introduction happen. I was able to introduce my friend to the speaker because my friend had a unique reason she wanted to be in front of the speaker. We got hooked up, we connected. It was a great little interaction there. And then I left the interaction. I left my friend and the speaker still talking, and I removed myself. I'm going back to the table to get my purse because I had to leave. And Kristen, she's like, oh no, what happened was Kristen was talking to somebody else. And so I just quickly, I looked at Kristen. I said, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. I said, we made it happen. And I knew she would know what that meant. And I was prepared to just keep walking because I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. And she looked at me and she said, well, yeah, you did. And it was just, oh, it just gave me this good feeling. It just, like, of course, Faith Ann, there's no question you're going to be able to make this thing happen. And I loved it. It made me feel so good. So, this tip is when people do things or say things that make you feel good, duplicate it. Do that for someone else. So now I have this new way. It's like this cadence in my voice. This thing now. So when someone comes up to me now and says something cool they did, instead of my normal, "Oh, that's great." I can be like, "Yeah. Yeah, you did." 'Cause I loved it when she did that for me. When Kristen did that for me, it was so fun. So now I can do that for someone else. So pay attention to what is making you feel fun and special and happy, and do that for other people. Now, the last way that we can nurture the relationships that we have is to connect people who are close to us that don't know each other. And I like to do this with three-way lunches. I have been lax lately in doing this. Earlier in the year, I was a lot more active in setting up these three-way lunches, and I want to get back into that habit again. A three-way lunch is this idea that you take two people that know you but don't know each other, two people that you know well in business, and connect them with each other through a three-way lunch. And I like to think about when I'm connecting these people, I like to just think about opportunities that might be there for each other. So I would not set up a three-way lunch for this purpose with two people who already know each other, or two people that are too similar in the kind of people that they're going after. I might, but I really try and think about if one of them could eventually become a client of the other. Of course, you don't have control over if this is going to happen. I love, though, creating this ground for a connection to happen if it's going to happen. So I did this. The most recent one I did was with an IT person and a bank manager. I was hoping that the bank manager might be curious about IT services for his bank, but actually, what ended up happening was the IT person was interested in some working with the bank for an account that he had for a family member. So it's fun to set up these three-way lunches or a three-way coffee, kind of sit back and watch what happens. That is a great way to nurture relationships that you currently have. And also, this is fun to do because if you're picking the people that you know better than just somebody you may have just met. They're more likely to agree to it. You don't have to work quite as hard to get them on board with the idea. So that's the bonus tip is make having three-way lunches a habit of yours. And I'm telling this to myself too. And this is really where the creating opportunities for others mindset has to be there for you. What I try and avoid is creating a situation where I've just got these two people connected with each other simply for the purpose of learning more about my new offer or what I've got going on. I try and not really talk about myself at all unless they're asking. And I'm just interested in facilitating interesting conversation between the two people that I'm connecting, knowing that it's going to strengthen both of those relationships that I have. Now, all of these tips have come from my real life experience being out and about trying to build my businesses. And I would be so curious to know if any of these tips are ones that you already use, or if one of them really resonated with you and you plan to use it. You can leave a comment if you're listening on Spotify. You can leave a comment. I would love a review if you are willing to leave a review on Spotify about this podcast, if it has helped you network better. And then if you are local to Oklahoma City, and you are needing one place to find where my vetted networking events are being held, if you want one calendar that you can look at and you know that every event on the calendar is a place where I have either been or I know the organizer very well, and I know that the heart of the organizers or the founders of these events are to connect people. And if you would like to be part of that, I will put a link in the show notes. It's $65 for the year. It's called Premium OKC Networking. Think of it as the menu that you order your favorite dish from, only it's the most detailed menu you've ever read when it comes to places to connect in Oklahoma City. I was just talking with a member recently, and she was telling me how much time that it saved her because she knew that she could just go to one calendar and plan her events for the month. There's also a learning tab with courses and a discussion forum. And there are so many plans in the coming months that I have for members of Premium OKC Networking for meetups and additional trainings that are exclusive to the platform. I would love to have you as part of Premium OKC Networking if you're local to Oklahoma City. Go and network and nurture the relationships that you have, and let's lean into them and let's make them even better.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basor. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.